Hey everyone! So welcome to the painting video of therefore the Planet Earth trifold glasses inserts, the self-finishing boxes, and also the pencil cases. I'm not sure if these are the same size as the um, do-it-yourself keychains. I'm not sure. Anyway. So today we're going to do two in this video. One is going to just be a solid background and the other is going to be a gradient. And with the gradient, it's not going to be these solid sets of lines. I did these up on the computer to make sure that I had them all counted out correctly. This is a counting video. I want you to get your Sesame Street uh, one on board, and we're gonna count it out. Counting is not my favorite way of doing painting. The rest of the kits are kind of freeform and shaded, but these pieces are so small. I have them counted out to 20 stitches high and 92 long. Because even though you can visually see 1 inch, I want to give you just one stitch under the leather. And you'll still have to make sure that when you go to do the self-finishing that you're able, that it's going to fit, that it's not going to be too small. You know, while manufacturing is really great, they are done in such a manner where it might be one stitch off. You just can't help that kind of um, not error, but shift. So they do the best they can, and we double check before we cut off all of our canvas. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to start with, is going to be prepping the canvas. Now, even though we're counting this on and we aren't doing pencil outlines prior to it, I did go ahead and spray it with the clear matte acrylic spray. I prefer to get it from your local hardware store because anytime you put art supply on anything, it gets more expensive. And I just use the Ultra Cover. You can get it at any of the major, well, most of the hardware stores in general. I tend to use the matte just because it gives just enough tooth, but if you have the gloss, use the gloss. I've used it. It's just sucks right into it like you wouldn't believe. And this is all, the reason we're doing it is to set the pencil, but also to keep our paint from soaking down in. It's even more prolific when you're doing 13 mesh. These are specifically designed for 18 mesh, and they will not fit in the box if you do them on 13 mesh. Doesn't mean that you can't make a little bookmark or something like that out of them if you decide, or whatever you want, onto 13 mesh. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our matte medium on. And we are going to do what they call dry brushing this on. You know what? Back up. Let's start with taping it off, because I don't want to get that on here and have it be wet. Now, one of these I had already counted out, and then I realized, you know, I should probably show you how I do a count out to help me stay where I need to stay. So let me just tape this off that I've already put the pencil lines on. And once you tape it off, you actually don't have to put pencil lines on there. So you can quite literally, well, I'll show you in the next spot. If you didn't have to count it out, you're just going to measure it out with a ruler, which you'll see in other videos if you decide to paint any of the other kits. And I try to really press that on because yes, it will leak under the tape just like it does on the wall, especially if you are using like navies and things like that, and you've got to put a lot of layers on. It'll creep under and you don't want it to bleed under. Okay, so there's that. So our first one is set there. So I have paper towel down because the paper towel will help, soak it down, the paint down in. So you'll see, I'll show you examples where if your holes get filled, how to break them up without using a pin, because you don't want to use a pin, it leaves a collar. And then you've got to push your needle through it, and it's just a pain. We use a paper plate. And why do I use a paper plate instead of little cups? Because I mix a lot as I'm going along. If it looks like it's going to dry too dark, then I have to add a little something. So this is Liquitex Matte Medium. Okay, it is not cheap. Always get a coupon. I tend to go to Michael's for this more than this, but I probably was able to get it on sale because I caught it on sale at Hobby Lobby, since they don't really take coupons anymore. And I'm jumping the gun again. That can sit there for a minute while I count. Don't worry about it. Okay. So what we're going to do is get my ruler. So the reason why we go in 2 inches is so that you can put it on a frame. Something this small, you're definitely going to want to do that. And then this is not a full 9 inches. They are 8 because I had already cut it and I don't really have a lot left. So we're working with it. So it's 1.5 inches in versus the 2. So we put our initial, okay, there's our corner. Okay, so we have our little corner. Now, I'm going to grab our tape again. I'm going to take a piece off and put it on like that. We're only doing 2 sides right now. You'll see why. So my daughter doesn't do this. She thinks, I don't know what she thinks. She thinks she can do it without it, and she has great eyes, so whatever. Now, I wear cheaters over my progressives because it helps get me closer in and see these little stitches. So it's, let me see if I can keep it in focus. Okay, ready? Count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mark. I think I showed this on one other video, but I do it because it's just easier for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there's 20. You don't, okay, so I said you don't have to use pencil. Well, you kind of do, because you need to mark off where that, you don't have to. It's a habit. Trying to explain to you guys sometimes why I do things when I do them doesn't always work out until I have to make a video like this to teach you how to do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sometimes they look a little big to me and I gotta go back and recount. I'll go back and count that another 5 times if I don't put that number there. Kind of like when you're baking brownies and you keep taking the box out of the trash just to make sure you got the right temperature on the oven. 6, 7, 8, and now why aren't we just doing this? And then 1, 2. So I did 92 in the design, like I said, so that it would be full under the leather, hopefully. Not too big, not too small. The Goldilocks rule. Just right. Then lay that on. All right, so now we are going to dry brush. So this is a stencil brush. It's flat. I also have one that I don't think I brought over here that has a little round to it. If you did any crafting in the 80s, you probably remember the stencil craze where we put them all over the tops of our walls, and if you didn't, lucky you, because it was a pain. And dry brushing, you're not going to get, you're just putting the tip into your matte medium. And then it used to be that you would tamp it off on a paper towel when you were doing the stencils. But on this, you can just make out that little bit of a smear. Okay? And we're just going to go through and tamp it on. Because you don't want too much. If you get too much, what it does is it gets it too wet and the canvas warps. Well, why does it do that? Well, that's because our canvas has sizing in it. Now, you do not have, and the sizing will basically be diluted and it'll start to warp up. Now you can reset it by letting the paint dry and then using an iron, not when you have tape on, and steaming it flat. I definitely would do that if you have the warping, because nothing's worse than trying to paint on that. Now, if you do not have a brush like that, but you have a larger brush, this is a number 8 flat. Yeah, it's not a filbert. You're going to do the same thing. You're just going to put just the tips in of the bristles, and this is a hog bristle, as well as this is a hog bristle. Yeah. um, because, well, or wild boar. You just really kind of want to scrub it in. If you have a little too much that gets on, you can just keep working it in, like in one spot. Just pull it away from the area. This is about the only time I actually scrubbed like this on this canvas. The reason we use the natural hair brush is because the any of the plastic is going to, these will naturally break away, and so this end stays nice and flat. But with the synthetic brushes, what happens is the tip starts to curl. Can you see that? See that curl? And that's because the plastic just bends, the synthetic fibers, not really fibers, it's plastic. They bend, they don't break away. And the only sable doesn't work, it's too soft. None of the others, none of the other natural brushes work. And they don't make my favorite brush anymore because the cute little furry animal that it was made from, they had a outbreak of a disease and it wiped out huge farms. And while I love the cute and fuzzies, I was equally sad that I no longer had the brush. But I have found something that I find works, and you can buy it on their website. It's through Hobby Lobby, and sorry, I gotta clean this out or else it'll get all stiff and yucky. So the small brush that I use, this will all be in your kit, is the Zero Master Touch, but you can and it's the Fine Art, it's the short handle version. And then the spotter brush, which is, spotting is usually done on photographs when there's like dust and things like that, so it gets the tiny spots. This one's like a 3-0. One of the reasons I like this brush is solely to mix with. You never mix your paint colors with the tip of your bristles. Okay, just don't do it. Just find a little stir stick from coffee, anything. Don't use your bristles because it's just going to load up on your brush and you're not going to be able to utilize it the way you need to. Okay, so let's jump right into it. So the first version that we're going to do is we are going to do a solid color, and I use, all of my paints are, hold on, I gotta find one, either Americana or Anita's. Okay, the reason that I only use these is because I don't have to thin them with my matte medium. Matte medium is the only thing I thin my paint with because water makes the craft acrylic paints, as well as heavy body or medium body paints, faster. And I don't use an extender, which is to make acrylic paints more like oil paints, because then they take forever to dry. So when do I use the matte medium? I've been painting for a while. I've got some coagulating paint on that I've taken a long time to color match something. Then I'm going to add a couple drops of it so it's going to make it slightly thinner, and so it's not going to give you as thick coverage. It's going to, be a little more translucent, but it will reactivate it. It shouldn't do it if you're only putting a small bit in. It shouldn't make it too thin. So I never use these colors straight out of the bottle. They're never usually as light as I want for my lightest color. And this, just remember that whatever color you see coming out of this bottle, it is going to dry a shade darker, just like when you're painting your house, your rooms, any kind. And so we're going to cut this way down. And if I'm going to cut it down and then mix it together, and what I mean by that is I'll put a little of the darker color and then I'll just work a little smear in, okay? Because what I find when you're trying to get your lightest color, hold on, there we go, it's a little better, not quite as knocking it out. Let's see how long I can keep it like that. So this is probably dark enough. So we're going to use this color for the buoys. And with the buoys, I'm going to test that. I mixed one that's one shade darker. Okay. See that? And roll that color off so you're not wasting it. It's too difficult to use the fat end of this. You're going to have to test out and see which brushes that you like and what sizes you like. I like this size 0 because I can load it up with a lot of paint and really get a good line with it. So there's 2 ways that you can do counted. One of them is to count out all of your little subjects first. And all of my kits are going to have, so this is about the actual size. There. Okay. I don't know about you, but I think you just saw me put on extra cheaters because of my vision issues. Okay, so here's that version. This is what you get in your kit. Because I don't want to guess. I don't want to, yeah, let's just make our life easy, be able to count what we're going to count. Now, one of the things that we do is, where's my little black marker? Okay. When it is a repetitive piece, we will count 1, 2, can you see that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I will put 12 there, 6, 7 there. I know that's 2 and 3. I mean, those are pretty obvious. But when you start getting on long runs like that, it's nice to make notes. Even if you have to make a copy of it so that your pen works better, or to use, you'll notice I don't use Sharpies. If you've watched any of my videos, I don't like Sharpies. I don't like seeing it through the paint, because if for some reason a fiber doesn't cover it well, it sticks out like a neon sign. So for this particular painting, we're going to put the background color in first and go from there. And I'm going to probably, so the reason why I did two versions of color for this is because I'm going to test it. I want to make sure that the white is going to be bright enough that I can see it when you're stitching. It's a choice that you get to make. It's not what I say to do. If you want to do even darker color for this, great. Just, you don't have to follow. This is just to help you count. So if you don't like this pink or you don't like that blue, up to you. It's your painting. It's not mine. You should, you could, well, you could put a letter, maybe not all three, of somebody, or even yours, your initials, somewhere on this. I kind of left a blank spot in this corner specifically, so if you wanted to put somebody's initials or year, something like that, there, I didn't really count it out last night. I was kind of tired. So, okay, so we're going to lay this color in basically the same way we just dry brushed in. Hold on. Where's the brush that I want? Did I grab it? I came out and I put so much stuff on the table that I'm not sure that I didn't bury it somewhere. Okay, hold on while I locate the brush that I would like to use. Okay. Once again, with feeling. So I'm just going to take, I'm sorry, I have this down so close to the canvas that it's hard to get my paintbrush, the camera, down in front. Okay, so I just put some on and I'm going to kind of tamp off the majority of it. To get good coverage, you want to tamp it on. Don't go like this. The reason being is that when you go back over it, now take some of that smear off of there and keep moving down the canvas. The whole point is to not pull off what you just laid on. Okay. Now, something you need to remember is when we approach the next step of, I can't have that dancing around like that, go right in the paint every time. Now, I'm going back into it because I can see it's already dry. All right? Because you're just light, 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 light. Okay? Sorry, it's bouncing because I'm... Now, if you see that you put too much on, every once in a while, I'll kind of clean off some of the old sludge off my brush and then come back in. Tamping like this drives your paint down into your paper towel and helps eliminate your clogged holes. Now, if you're doing a gradient, I was just trying to wipe off. So what happens is it starts to creep up your brush and you'll start to get an excess. It starts to creep up your brush and you'll start to get an excess that's up towards here. So you kind of wipe it like this. Okay? It's the only time you do that is because it's going to help put something on there to kind of prime this as you come back over it. Okay? And I like, so you see how the canvas is bouncing like that? I don't like that. I don't want the canvas to follow my brush. Hold on. Let me see if I can help. Nope, it's not going to help steady it. We'll be done with this in a second. I'm going to have to start putting my camera on a separate tripod so it doesn't bounce because it's attached to the table. Okay. I see that so you can see where some of the bristles have broken off and have stuck to the canvas. That's okay, they'll pop off. So now I'm going to come back down here because it's dry, and I'm going to do a little second coat. Since it's a fill-in, so when I start doing that, it's to drive, when I do an angle like this, it's to drive down so that you don't see any white in these gutters. Okay. If you need to, or one of the ways, I should say, one of the ways to check how your coverage is. Told you, oh, make me crazy. Okay, especially with dark colors, is to pick it up and look at it towards the floor or a dark area, and you'll be able to see where the paint is thinner. It's harder to see those things when you have it on a white piece of paper towel. Okay, so this looks a lot lighter than it is in person. So unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of ways I can tone that, change it. All right, let's get that rinsed out. Okay, we're next. Okay, so this one with the crabs, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from light to dark. Okay, so let me see how I gotta get this so you can see. I'll do my best, guys. Okay. So I'm going to grab this, and for this I am going to smear. I don't want this to dry all that quickly. Well, that didn't come out right. Okay, half of it in the light. Then we're going to take a dollop of the dark. We're going to start on this side. Okay. We're going to put in our dark. Now, as I'm painting this out, it's naturally using up all the paint, okay, that's on the brush. All right. I'm going to grab some of this lighter, the medium that I made, and I'm going to kind of come in here. And I'm going to start along this edge where it's really dark. And as light, tickle, tickle, tickle. Smear, smear, smear. Okay. As it wears off, now I've gotten a little lower than I want here. So I'm going to grab some of the light. Okay. It's a little uneven, but you know, maybe you don't mind the uneven. We're going to bring it back right at that edge where it's a little uneven. We're going to put a little smear, kind of cover it, right? And bring it back up, and as your paint wears off, it creates the mid-tone, okay? All right. And just like that, we have a light to dark gradient. Let's grab a little more of the dark. So I just grabbed some more of the dark, and now I dipped it a little in that light. I'm going to test it over here to see how dark it is. Grab some light, because of course I smeared too much. You just kind of keep going back and forth. I am very lightly touching it. Okay, and as I'm going back and forth over it, I'm driving away all those I'm filling in. I can see I have little white down deep in the gutters. Now, you're going to stitch over this, right? So, unless you're going to do an open stitch on it. So, you may say, well, I need to paint just like this so I have a defined gradient. So then you can paint all your light over the top, right? Then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and lay the next color darker. Then another 5, darker. Then your darkest color. Okay, so then you can define your gradient instead of doing, and then you're going to come back in and stitch it accordingly. This is where it's all your choice. You have to decide how you want to stitch this. Are you going to use creative stitches that are just going to cover up all of this gradient? Then, as long as it's got a thick enough coverage, your fiber, then you don't necessarily need to even put a background in. You can just start by counting out all of your lobsters or crabs or buoys. Okay, so next step, we're going to go back to the buoys. It's nice and dry. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I need to cut because I don't want to have all of that covering up and having to show blah blah blah. Okay, so here we have our buoys. Okay, now pen. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, and then 2 down. Okay, so let's get our white out. Right in front of me. This is just Deco Art giant bottle, industrial size, since we use it a lot. Okay, and so we get, let me see, let's pull this down lower so you can see. It's hard for me because my camera is right in my view. So this is how I load it up. I load, don't go way up, okay? There's no reason for it. You want to kind of grab that glob and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2 starts there, okay? And that's 3 and 2. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. See if I can remember, read what that is down the road. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 2. And yes, it's a lot of dipping and reloading your brush. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, from this stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2. The more you can leave for, oop, doop, the more you can leave on the canvas, the less, see that big old bloop? See it? The less you have to go back over it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What did I do? Oh, it is right. Can you tell I'm tired and I got a shadow falling across this? Okay. Alright, so this is where you have to make another decision. Okay? You can just put your red onto there. But what's going to happen, because we back painted this, the background in first, it's going to shift your red a little bit. If you don't care, get painting red. If you want it to be as bright a red as possible because you are going to use a specific fiber, then you need to underpaint it. Ugh. So I don't like pinks very much. So I tend, do I want to do Christmas red? So it's like this really intense. I think I do. Yeah, I do. Okay, here's the Christmas red. I'm going to grab some of this white. Okay. And I'm just going to knock it down. So we're basically going to be putting on a primer color. So you have seen this in stores where they say if you have a really dark color on your wall, you need to put, well, not need, you should put a primer color on there. Now be careful not to lay your plate over wet paint or lay your hand in it. So that's usually why I do from the left side to the right side. And I go from the top, down. Okay? Got to get my picture out here to remember. So it's 3 and so it's 1, 2, 3 and 2, 2. Again, we want to make sure that, so it's 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. So I'm doing that one first because then that way it can dry and I'll come back and put the white in afterwards. So I'm going to come over. So we're going to have like a whole lot of paints going all at once, a whole bunch of different colors. Now that we have one, ooh, 1, 2, 3, 1. Ooh, I got to do another one. Whoops. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I'm brilliant. Gotta go out one more set here. Can you tell this is why I don't love counting? Oh, okay. The reason why I also added these in is because as far as to the designs is because some of the people seemed kind of disappointed that they weren't just counting things in. It's like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. Okay. So that's supposed to be an orange. The lavender. Oop. Lavender. I have my giant cart next to me, and of course, my paper plate is sitting on what I need. Lavender. And that's supposed to be like a nice kind of bright royal blue. Here's my ultramarine. Oop, I just totally painted on myself. So blues, especially the ultramarine, uh, reds, yellows, are typically pure pigment and they don't add any white in with it. So sometimes they get a little transparent. They're not as opaque as the rest because of how they have to, it's just like when you're getting paints for your house. Now the house paints have a lot more clay in it, and so it makes it thicker and doesn't alter the color. So it's interesting, if you look at this color red, it's kind of what we call here Chatham red. It's like tomato soupy red. I know that this lavender is way too dark to use straight out of the bottle. It is. And I think we should be okay without adding any white to the blue. And I think I still see some red there, so we're going to grab some lavender. We're going to do 3 and 2 and 3. 2 and 3. Okay. And then we're just going to fill it in. Not going to use a big brush, just kind of get it in there. And if we need to, we'll come back and put a second coat on it. But I think it's going to be okay. Okay. Now I'm going to hold it up like this so that you can kind of see a little bit better. Hold on. Maybe if I put the so much stuff on my table. See how it's a little darker? Boy, that's tough. I gotta figure out a better way to not blow this out with so much of this white. It helps when I put my hand in. I don't know. Okay. So now we need to do the orange. So I grab some orange, big dollop. We're doing 2. So the orange would turn brown if you just put that color on. Okay. Now I can see 1, 2, 3. Can't see it. From this end down here is 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 2. 1, 2, 3, 7, and then 3, 6, 7. Now essentially we're just going to do this 1 for this class because really what I wanted to do was to just show you how to lay in the different types of backgrounds. So the crab one is the same way. You got to treat your paints. If you want it to be brighter, you're going to underpaint with added white. I'm kind of going back. So this underpainting that I'm doing isn't going to be our final color for these. Okay, all right, let's take this off. We're going to go back up here. And this is 1, 2, 3, 7. So we're going to grab this extremely brilliant blue. And you know what? We do have to do it. It's so thin. That if I try to do this, you're going to see, and yes, I'm mixing this time with some, see how thin that is? You can kind of see how translucent that is? As you can see the brush. So when I get too much loaded on and it starts working its way up to the collar, I roll my brush and it puts the majority back on the plate. Okay, so what did I say? 7, 3, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, and I'm off. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. See how I just wiped a majority of it off? Can you see? Oop. Get you in a little closer. Is it blurry now? Blurry. Okay. Gotta find Goldilocks again. Alright. So going back up into this paint definitely causes it to smear off and show how translucent it really is. I'm going to go ahead and just make it a wash and come back over it because there's just no getting around it. Okay. Just trying to make sure you can see. Now, again, might not be an issue for you. You know what? I think that Christmas red is not doing us any favor. Let's do some red alert. Ooh, that's a little orangey. I like that. Red alert is from Americana. Now, I am concerned that because, yeah, this is much more tomato soupy. Because this is kind of, I gotta brighten it up a little, or it's not going to be as bright as I want. Now, you could paint this all in white and then paint the red over the top of it. That's another option. Okay, I'm going to come back in with my orange because that's dry, and I am using the bright orange this time and laying it Okay, and over the top. And here we go, at the bottom. All right. Okay, it's pretty bright. Doesn't, again, look quite as bright as it would. All right, so we're gonna do one last coat of lavender. That blue still has not dried. Now, again, do you need to put this many on? Well, this is going to be what I teach from, so I really want to make sure that I have really good coverage. Okay. Let's see how, I'm afraid that's going to dry dark. Let's put a little boop up here and let's see how it dries. Because if this is the case, we're whiting that out. Stuff happens, you know? All right, let's get counting again. Grab some white. All right. Oop, boop, 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 boop. There. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3. Thank goodness I can at least count to 3 tonight. Okay. And then we do 2, 1, 2, 3. And now you're just going to keep working your way down. This is, you know, the excitement of it. Now, if you wanted to, you could give your pieces if you wanted to get all shady, you could shade these in and have them look more like gradients than the other ones. And guess what? We're going to do 1, 2, 3. And why is that? I just don't like where this red is headed. And then we go. Do you know how many times I accidentally grabbed the wrong color on the tray? Lots. Now I really don't need to do tons of, you know, making sure that the red is overly overpainted. We're just going to get this whited out. I just go back in and pop out those, okay, filled in holes, okay, just like that, okay, yeah. I don't know who I'm trying to convince, you or me. All right, let's let that dry. And then our next color is a pink. And so this is called Dragon Pink. Dragon Fruit, excuse me. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 1, 2. And then 1, 2, 3. Can you tell that I just went in when I was designing and changed colors and used the same footprint, sort of? Yep, totally did that. Okay, there is that. With that, so you can make yourself really crazy adding colors, colors, colors. For every color you add time. You could just do it little white buoys and go, I will just stitch in whatever I want as I go. That's on you, your choice. Okay, like that. What else do we have in this? Ooh, yellow. That's always fun. So this lovely lemon yellow will be the undercoat for bright yellow. All the yellows are very thin, just like I was mentioning before. And then we have the red, which we are going to go to our tried and true red. Oop, I totally just put it right into the silly thing. Okay. Okay, and yeah, my hands look like this all the time. Okay, so next we have 3 green, 3 yellow, 3 red. Green. Yellow. Oof, totally cut the edge of my plate. Okay, I'm going to roll off some of that excess color because there was a little gloop there, and just stab it and remove some of that color. Okay, and then what do we do for red? We paint it white. Okay. Now, if you didn't put in the colors, you'd be able to, the background color, you'd be able to just paint it. Oop, and I got some smudge left on there because I just put creamy color. I'm putting my finger on it and lifting the color up that I just put on. That's how you do that. Grab some white, come back in and put a heavy dollop for the section that is supposed to be white. So obviously you're going to do what makes sense to you as to if you don't need the heavy coverage and you kind of leave the smears in there where it's a little thin, that's good. That's not a problem because you're just going to stitch over the top of it, and unless you use really open stitches, no one will ever know. We have people that get kind of upset in class, and it's like, wait, are you going to stitch this? Well, yeah. Then nobody's going to see it. It's all good. Okay. Pretty decently thick now. Let me see. So we just painted that, but I did not paint foot. So I'm going to grab my true red. So we do 1, 2, 3. Three. 5. Okay. So like I said, would be much darker. More like a burgundy if the blue is behind it. Because this particular blue and this particular red are complementary colors. That's not quite true. It would be green is the complement. No, hot pink and this green would definitely be darker. Now I know it looks a lot darker in this camera. But this is what we call 321 red. That's right. Pretty sure 90% of you know what that means. DMC 321 red. Okay. Now we're going to do the next one down. Just going to get it laid in there. Now, where is my 50 persimmon? I am missing that's true red. I'm missing my scarlet. Oh, interesting. Oh, guess I gotta go get a jar of it. So this one goes there, so we're doing 321 here. Why not? Right? Just rolling that color off so that we can clear that hole. Okay, so I'm going to take a majority of the paint off before I wash it because I don't want to waste paint. Not that I always do that, but made sense this time. So here's the red. I am going to put another coat of the lemon yellow. Okay. Ka-ping. Popular person tonight, apparently. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this green. Now, more than likely, it really wouldn't have shifted it that much. That one's getting a little gloopy because it's been sitting there a while. But like I said, I like to make sure. Okay. All right. Okay. Where's my next one? So starting at the last pink, 1, 2, 3, and on 4, last pink, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 5. What was I just using? White. 2, 2, 1, 2, 3. Now what colors do we have in here? Dark blue, orange, aqua. So this aqua that we're going to do, let's do this one. It's kind of do a little melding, and yes, I'm doing my no-no. Okay, but that's because, so it's 1, 2, 3, and that's the last time we use that one. Now let's look down here for a good navy. I could get that that blue. Deep denim, excellent color. Okay. And the orange. Let's use our already whited up. So we're doing like that. And we're doing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I'm grabbing this light orange here. Trying to squeak out enough to do this last bit here. Get it primed. So I've done it both ways, where I put the color in and then I just go around with the blue. I tend to do that more than I do this way, but it's really doesn't save any time. Either way, it just takes the time that it takes. Okay. And then we're gonna do this blue denim. Wait. We are going to be doing persimmon, which is like a scarlet. Odd scarlet. And it's so small. I'm really not gonna do much. I could have grabbed one of my peaches that was already mixed if I was thinking about it, but I wasn't. Oof, that looks yuck. And you know why it looks yuck? Because that persimmon is no scarlet. So let's look here. And we're going to do that one coral for the second coat, I think. Now, ready to put our blue on. I know I look weird, bending over here to try to... Alright, so how many do we have? 7, probably. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. 1, 2, 3. 3, 6, 7. This is definitely going to have to be a second coat kind of blue. I do love that denim paint. Load it up, drag it on. Try to keep as much. So when you're doing the gradients, you can, in a more painterly effect, you don't care about the perfect coating, right? You don't. Okay, so we gotta get some yellow up here, and green. So this is 1, 2, 3. And you know what I'm gonna do? Boop. 1, 2, 3. Roll that off. Always try to, if you have any water drops left up here, get rid of them. You don't want it falling into your paint and diluting it. Because it always happens on the canvas and then it does this big blah, blah, blah. Alright, so now I'm going to grab this green and it's 1, and then 1, 2, and then 1. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. And then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You start to kind of get into a rhythm of remembering what it is. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2. Now I'll probably go back around and hit all of these with white. Right? Okay. Now we're going to look over here and we're going to go from the red persimmon. 1, 2, 3, 4, and on number 5 we put down 3. 1, 2, 4 on number 5. 1, 2, 3. Then we go 1, 2, 2. Hey, guess what? We're almost there! Yay! Alright. No partying before we're done. You. Okay. Now what's next? So we got this kind of pinky rosy color. I'm going to do the 1, 2, 3, 2, and 1. 2, and so we got that primed. What's next? So then you, and then on there.
3, 1 there. And I'm going to go ahead, lay that darker color in over top. Okay. Then I'm trying to stick with this bluey purpley color. Let's try. Ew. It is not the happiest of dioxin purple. Add some of that. Yes, I'm getting a little loosey-goosey here. A little more blue. A little more blue. Ooh, I think we got it. Maybe a little light. Problem is, might still. So when you're beginning, you might want to choose colors that are kind of straight out of the bottle as close as you can, because it's not easy, as I think I've shown here. Now, we are going to use this fabulous bluegrass green. Definitely has a yummy bluey green to it. Yeah. Okay, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I'd gone by what every other one was, I'd be in trouble. 2, 3, 4, 6. So now that you've seen how long it takes with doing the buoys, you may go, maybe not so much. Okay. There. Now we're going to do some second coats, right? So here, I wonder if my orange and my coral are going to be too close. What is my other choice? Because that's very... What do I want to do instead of... Because that's a pretty bright. Oh, hold on. This darker orange. Yeah, I think so. So let's put this orange on here. then we'll figure out that color. I want to find the rose color that goes, which is wild berry. We are going to add a touch of white. Now, it's not exactly a intense color. You could decide to do sports team buoy colors for all the different teams that someone might like for a gift. Yeah, okay. I'm thinking that needs to be this. Let's do this yellow. Okay. Now, we still have a yellow and a green to hit down below. Okay. And a yellow to lay in right here. This is cadmium yellow. Nice and bright. Okay, and same here. And now, you can see I've got a paintbrush hair there, but not going to worry about it. Alright, I'm going to do a quick second coat of denim. Doesn't have to be as thick as what we initially did the first time. Oh, sugar. You can't see what I just did down here. And we're going to take and do another coat. Thin is fine. There. Okay. And I'm going to bring in, maybe we do a kiwi top instead of the same green. So we bring in this, right? I'm adding a little darker because this is a very thin paint. Okay. Right. All right, all right. Now, there's so many different things you could do. One of my favorite things to do is to take white metallic, okay? Pearl white. Because it really makes this pop. Okay. Okay. See, the more I shadow, try to shade it, the more it tries to compensate for the light. Gotta work on that. Because I want you to really kind of see how that really pops. Alright. One of the other things you can do is in between you can put a white line utilizing the pearl. Okay. Ooh. Boop, boop, boop. I just got too much on there, so roll off your excess paint, come back in, and push that paint away from that extra stitch. Okay? It got a little funky right in here. Okay? Alright, and I'm going to show you, see how we did lines there? All around. Metallic. Wash it out. Put it on. And it'll pop. And it just gives it a little shine. Okay? But, oh, sorry. I am going to eliminate our shine from that one because nobody else has it except for the white. So we'll leave it at just for those. And now we're done. Okay, and that's where we get to ready? 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Okay. So you can probably count it out faster than maybe I did. But let's see if this helps. Pull this back a little so you can get an idea of how intense the colors actually are. Trying to see how the blue works. All right. I think maybe if we hold it up a little, it kind of helps. Okay. Well, happy painting, everyone. I hope you enjoy these, and if you would like to paint one of my kits, you can find them. You can come to one of my in-person classes and learn directly from me, or you can purchase them on my website under, right now it's called Class Calendar,
But I'll be changing that over soon. I'll be making its own page. So I will post the link when I post the video. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you guys in class.